Okay, friends, so just while we're waiting just for a couple minutes, we just want to make sure that we have about a minute or so, maybe in the chat, if you wanted to give us a little brief little, how are you? How was this morning? You can use an emoji, or you can just type something just to kind of say hi. And busy is probably the best word to describe how you're feeling right now. I love it. Yay, learning new things again.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Sometimes, yeah, like I don't know, sometimes I really love that we get in a bit of a rut, and maybe there's positives to come out of everything. So learning new things is kind of a nice thing sometimes. Great, lots of participants. That's good news.
I'm sorry, I'm having
What's happening over there, Gretchen?
I'm having trouble, and my mic keeps muting when I go to share my screen, so I don't know what's happening here.
Okay, do
So
you want me to
I'm going
try
to try
mine?
again though.
Okay.
I can try again. Let me give it another try, okay?
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, there.
Perfect.
See, it went back to mute again though.
But I can still hear you.
You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, good.
Alrighty. There we go.
Troubleshooting, and that's something we're going to talk about today. I learned a new piece of information, which might be a bit of a saving grace for some of you. So hang tight with us. We may have some helpful information for you. It went a lot better this go around, Sarah. I was thinking that actually because we did have that little snippet of experience in March. So this might go a little bit more smoothly than it might have before. So I'm glad to hear there's lots of positivity in that. I love it. Okay, so it is 2:01, so let's get started. Welcome everyone to our remote learning supports. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And we are hoping to give you some valuable information. We have some people joining us who have been an absolute blessing to us through all of this and have taught us so much. So I'm really excited to hear their voice. Okay, so before we get started, we would like to do our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and nations. And I love this picture because I love the snow and it's so pretty. Gretchen, do you know where this picture came from?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Pam had that one or where this one came from actually. We have a little collection of pictures that we've been sharing to use for these. So yeah, I'm not sure.
It's lovely. So I just encourage everyone to kind of minute to acknowledge the land on which you are joining us from, and to just be thankful. So today's session, we're going to quickly kind of review some of the remote learning options just quickly so everybody is clear. We are going to quickly talk about the structure of the daily program. We're going to hopefully hear some ideas from virtual teachers who are joining us, and then we're going to kind of chit chat and offer a few ideas as well. So that's kind of the way it is going to go. We are going to be, please feel free to use the chat or even to just yourself if you have a question. We want this to be helpful to you. So if you have questions or if there's something that you're wondering about, please feel free. We will stop. We can go a different direction if we need to.
Okay. Yep. All right. So we just want to take this time to kind of introduce ourselves. So my name is Gretchen Sands Gamble. I'm the Indigenous Education Special Projects teacher, but I'm also part of the elementary program team. And so I help out where I'm needed, right? And I taught kindergarten for quite a few years before I came into this role. So I'm happy to be here to offer any support that I can. And Alicia, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, okay. And so I think she's having a little bit of issue right now. So we have Alicia Schenk with us, and she's also education support curriculum. And we also have some experts with us today. So we have Janessa Latham and Stephanie Brogdon, Brandy Boston, and I think we have Sarah Raslin and Lauren Mumby with us too. So they are teachers from the virtual school helping, or who are the experts, and they've been doing this for a few months. So they're here to share that expertise with us. So yeah, so it's really great that everybody's here and that you have had the time today to kind of go through and work through everything. And I've heard too that there were some meetings today with staff to talk about what this week will look like, right? Because that's kind of what we're aiming for here, right? This is 1 week. And so we have these two options that I'm sure that everybody has gone over. And so a lot of things. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Gretchen, okay. I came back. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah.
Some of this information might be repeated information. Yeah. So as we said, if there may be a little bit of repeat, but if there's anything that you want us to kind of chat about, please don't hesitate to let us know.
And especially since we have, some teachers who have been working through this already for a couple months, to be able to have them here to help out and answer any questions that you have is really awesome. Yeah. Okay. So Alicia, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the determining the little malfunction in the family background, my kids needed some support, as I'm sure many of you are feeling. Yeah. So the dose of reality that this is what we're working with. Yeah. So these two options are very similar in March. Option 3, which is not being explicitly offered this time around. So obviously option 1, that learning on demand piece with teacher support, assigned tasks will be online activities with the classroom teacher leading the learning. So for this learning on demand, the teacher will be available for the majority of the day. There will be times that the teacher can just assign them work, but they are there for live support. The curriculum partners will provide instruction via a new Google Meet link and will be posted in Seesaw. Now, I do have to say that I know there has been a little bit of kind of confusion around this Google Meet link, and some schools may be choosing for prep teachers just to share the main link. So whatever your school has decided, it may look different. So go with whatever your administrator has decided. And we will talk about that a little bit later. Option 2, obviously, is learning on demand for those students, whether it's internet or broadband or of those issues that they cannot be a part of the live teacher support. Those students will work through the assigned work at their own pace. This just means anything that possibly you have posted in your Google Classroom or on your Seesaw or whatever for your students, anyone who's not doing the live part will just complete those assignments at their own pace. It does not mean they post extra above and beyond for those students unless you choose to want to do that. But the expectation for the assigned work is going to just be whatever you put out there for your option 1 students as well. Written feedback needs to be provided either through email or through messages on Seesaw. Find a way to connect with your students and provide them feedback. And same thing, curriculum partners will provide that on-demand activities This also has been changed for FDK specifically, this 75% for your prep providers, because you only are teaching 180 minutes. Providers are only doing 60% of their scheduled time. And again, I feel like that, I'm hoping, was a message sent through your admin. If you're unclear about that or uncertain, please don't hesitate to reach out to your admin. They will help to clarify that for you. Okay. The things that are for both option 1 and option 2, obviously learning will not exceed 180 minutes for kindergarten and 225 minutes for grades 1 through 8. Assigned tasks can be whatever. They can be questions, they can be reading. You might do a pre-recorded demonstration and send that to your students, pre-recorded tutorials, maybe there's a writing task, activities. So that might look the same for both option 1 and option 2. Those assigned tasks are going to be the same. Don't, as I said, do more for your option 2 students unless you choose to. Okay. Questions about that before we move on? And again, I feel like that's probably a repeat. I'm sure that you guys have read the memo and information from your meetings. And if you do have any questions, your admin is definitely there to help support you through it.
Yeah, especially around those prep minutes as well, right? Like that's, you know,
yeah,
that's something that your admin would know the answer to there, really. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a question. So does the 180 minutes include the prep provider? Yes.
Yeah. So yes, that 180 minutes from my understanding does include your prep minutes. So that 180 minutes total of instructional time, someone said in one of our meetings, think of it as the time that your kids are in class. The time that you spend with them is the time that you should be available to them. And on your prep, even though that's still instructional time for your students and you're not there, that still counts as instructional time. So yes, your prep time does go towards your 180 minutes of instructional time. Okay, great question. Device needs, hopefully by this point, you will know kind of who needs devices and what students will need that. So please let your principals know. I know many schools are trying to get them delivered today and into tomorrow. So arrangements will be made for either pickup at the school or for delivery. So please let your admin know.
Oh, there's a question in there. Do you see that? Does anyone know if you use the same Google Meet link all week? Will students be able to join the link at any time without the teacher accepting them?
For one of the virtual teachers,
Yeah.
I don't know if Brandy
we use the same code each day, each of the, like from the start of the week to the end, like all the way through. But I do have to accept them in because we didn't give out their email addresses. If they have the board email address, then they can get right in.
I believe if they're using a board email address, their own, then yeah, they don't need to be accepted.
And so
Sorry, I had a few parents who at the beginning, for one reason or another, we had to use their parents' email at the beginning until we got them hooked up with their board email. And they didn't have to, like I set it up so that they didn't have to be accepted each time they went in either.
I guess maybe if you add their emails into the invite, then you don't have to.
Yeah, like Alicia, I sent her, remember the video that I sent you? If you set it up in your Google Calendar and you invite them that way and you have it so that they're invited every day through that one link that you set up, then they don't have to be invited every day. So you go in your Google Calendar. I sent Alicia a video. I don't know if you want to send it out to people or not, but if you do it in your Google Calendar and you add them that way, then they'll be invited through that thing through the whole week. Does that make sense?
Can I just ask, so the question, it just says M, sorry, I always feel bad when I don't call you by name, but would it be safer to use a new link than each day? So are you worried about students going in and not being supervised? Is that kind of what the concern is?
Yeah, I just unmuted, sorry. I'm Mandy White. Hi. It says me for some reason. I don't know why it says me. I'm not that great at computers. I was just worried that students were going to go on their own. For example, my ECE and I went on today at 8:15 and we were already having people try to join. We want to be able to talk before the meeting and don't want them to join without our consent, right? So I didn't know if I should switch to a new link, but that makes it more difficult, I think.
Yeah, I think it's more confusing for parents and yourself if you're having to create a new one every day.
Okay.
Right?
Just use
So
the
we
same
do
one.
occasionally have some kids log in before us.
Okay.
They just usually just sit there and they don't even say anything to anybody.
For sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we also notice that if sometimes a student logs in, then their parents just log them out if nobody else is there.
We also
No,
when
today from my own kiddos, they I think are missing that bit of social, like they wanted to be able to chit chat with their friends, and they've been out of school obviously for a little bit. So I was kind of wondering, I actually reached out to my child's teacher just to say, is it okay that they are in there? Like, I know that they are in there. Is that okay? So maybe that's something that you can share with parents and just let them know that, you know, before or during instructional hours, obviously you will be there except for the recess and lunch piece. But if they choose to come on before or later after, that it won't be supervised. So they maybe need to know that.
The questions coming up in the chat. I'm always the host. Like Lauren is my ECE and she cannot, if she logs in before me, she does not have host privileges. If a student logs in before me, they do not have host privileges. It's only on me.
Is that because you set it up in the calendar, right, Brandy?
Yes.
Okay.
and I think with the conversation about leaving the students on, we have a lot of students that will stay after school and play together after we've gone, and the parents know that we've set it up front. Like if you want to play at lunchtime, play together, or if you would like to at recess, stay on and play, but we're not here. But they know that they're going to be on. I think I'm upside down. So they know, I don't know why. So they know that they can come on even during the holiday. They set up play dates and would meet online, and we're able to play. And we're really trying to build that virtual online connection with the students.
Mm-hmm. That too, Stephanie has a question there about the prep kind of coverage piece. And that's been a conversation with the teachers, because if the prep teacher just comes into your link, you are still in charge. So if you need to mute someone, for example, that needs to be on the classroom teacher. So the prep teacher might have to bother to say like, sorry, I know this is your prep time, but do you mind muting so-and-so's mic or doing this or whatever? Which is why I think the push and the message in the memo is that maybe prep teachers do want to put their own link out there. But again, that's something that you can discuss with your admin. Okay. Misty, there are some samples. We are going to get moved on to that. Are we okay to move on, or are there any other concerns if anyone wants to come off mic or?
Okay. Good.
Okay. Okay, so the next thing that we quickly wanted to touch on is this whole scheduling piece, which I think is a big question in everybody's mind. So these are kind of the things that now your school day is beginning as per your school bell times. Some schools are keeping their consistent schedule. So your prep still fall during your prep times. Your recess and lunches, those are still followed. I do know some schools have chosen to kind of shift their schedule. Again, if that's the case, then follow the direction of your admin. When you are scheduling, you need to make sure that you are scheduling those lunches and recesses and taking impromptu breaks when needed. You'll be able to know when your kids need a break, I am sure. You can probably read the room quite well. But again, follow the principal and the divisional directions. Asynchronous time throughout the day, so it's kind of woven in. So if you or your kids need a break, there's maybe a time that they go off and do a seesaw activity or independent or, you know, gather something. And then same as DPA, that should be woven in. So that's what we know from memo, and that's all we know. And I feel like now is going to be the time that your virtual teachers are going to be a wealth of information for you. So let's skip forward to the next slide. And I wonder if either Janessa or Brandy, if you guys just want to kind of start chatting, and then you guys throw out your questions and throw in whatever information you'd like to share.
Sure. So mine's over on the left-hand side, and this is just kind of like a general flow of the day. It does take some time for the kids to get in there. So we usually have some sort of picture or something for them to see just as they log in, right? Because they're not all coming at the same time. And sometimes with the little kindergarten guys, they're sleeping in, and we make that okay. We're just like, guys, it's okay if you didn't make it right away, because I know everyone's a little stressed and like really wanting to get on there. So we do take a good long time with that. And then our morning announcements, we have a virtual morning announcements, and we take our time with that too. Everything's slow and easy. We have sign-ins. I'm just kind of reading this off, but this is our general idea. We have a nice big break from 10 to 10:30, and we return the students with like a video or a music that they can recognize, so they know, oh, you know, they left their camera on or camera video on or whatever, so they can hear that, oh, it's time to come back. And we share that a lot, like come back at 10, even if you leave throughout the morning. Let's say you had a bit of a meltdown, no worries, we're going to be live again at 10 and 10:30, and we'll be live again at 1. So we try and make it as like relaxed as possible. And most of our major topics are in the morning, because we find the most students show up in the morning, and then they kind of trickle off as they want to play outside and stuff. So the second 2 blocks are more learning through play and student-led learning kind of stuff.
So Janessa, can I ask you to kind of clarify, so that 8:50, when you do, you know, they log in slow and steady, their morning announcements, Oh Canada, the land acknowledgement, the sign in, when you get to learning experience, is that like you and Stephanie do like a short little, maybe it's like a carpet time or like a sing some songs or something like that?
And
then
and we'll have
the
students come
learning-
in like 20 to 9 and 9 o'clock, right? So in there, we have usually like, what doesn't belong here? So we're just talking with the kids, and we are practicing. Everybody, you come on, you mute, please mute. And then we call them individually to unmute and chat with them.
Okay.
And we also, during that time, we also will have, this is when we do our sounds, our letters. We start doing a little bit of printing, letter recognition, word recognition. And then in the middle block, we sometimes will do a math component, or maybe fell into the first component. Like we really do actually sit down and we do literacy, and we do numeracy, we do dramatic play, we do music, we do all of those things you would do in a face-to-face component, but virtually.
It's like, I think
so-
Brandy too, right? It's like the whole class lesson almost in the morning. That's when you'd have like your carpet time, like someone else said. It's just because also you have the most participants.
And that learning through play time that you have in that kind of 8:50 chunk, that would, like, kind of reminds me of like exploration time or tabletops in your classroom, where kids can, you know, play, bring toys from home, whatever they're wanting to do. And do they stay in your meet?
So some of them do, some of them don't. So some will go, can I go play outside? We're like, absolutely, ask mom or dad or whoever. your guardian, and then some will say, hey, why don't you take us to your playroom? They'll have an iPad. Some will bring their toys in front of us, and then that way we can figure out, like, we start conversations and get some inquiries from that, kind of like their interests and stuff, right? Or can they, what we just learned, can they do that with their Play-Doh or whatever their toys are? Or maybe we can help them do that through, oh, I see that you're doing this. Well, we talked about that today, you know, sneak in that learning that we had earlier.
And I think it's safe to say, and I've heard kind of over and over, like, this might not feel natural. Like, Brady, I think the playing for you guys maybe doesn't feel as natural. Is that what I was kind of picking up? Yeah, do you want to tell us just a little bit about that too?
Yeah, so we schedule in playtime as well. Sometimes it will be during our small group times. So my schedule and Lauren's is on the right. That's like what our Tuesday kind of looks like. So we'll schedule in playtime where they can either bring something to build or something to play with. Sometimes they're just, yes, they're playing, but you're trying to like get something out of them and they're just like staring back at you. So yes, it doesn't always feel natural. Like if we were in the class, you could actually be doing something with them. But today's play went better than it had. There was a couple kids interacting with other kids. So that was nice.
Mm-hmm. So your day, you guys do things a little bit different than Janessa and Stephanie do. Tell us a little bit about what your day looks like.
So we start to log in at 8:55, and we every day at login there's songs being played. So Mondays and Wednesdays there's more literacy songs. Tuesdays and Thursdays there's math songs. By 9:02 we play a good morning song, and then we go into our virtual announcements, and then we have a question of the day. So that's just, I post on Seesaw. I'll share my screen, I'll ask the question, and then Lauren will call on each child and they get to answer. Then we talk about, like, what do you notice? So today's was, today was National Spaghetti Day. So it was, do you like spaghetti? So then we talk about, what do you notice? We do tallies. So that gets them talking, math talks. Sometimes we have them share during that time. And then we chose to do small groups with ours. So everybody was put into a small group time. So we have 9:30, there's 6 kids on, and that's only 6 kids. The rest are off doing like a seesaw activity or reading or playing, going outside. 10:10 to 10:30 is our break. Then we have group 2, group 3, group 4, and some of those groups do different things based on their needs. Lunchtime again, 11:50 to 12:30. At 12:30, that's our whole group. And again, we do different things on different days. So usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do an I wonder. So the kids have told us something they wonder about, just like we would do in the class, and then we research it. 1 o'clock is our last small group, and at 1:40 is an optional story time, which we usually only get maybe 3 or 4 girls that come and join. And we've asked parents, like we've sent out lots of different surveys. Do you want to see anything changed? Nope, this is what works for them. We've asked, like, do you want that 1:40 time earlier? Do we want to do something different? Nope, like this is just what they want, kind of easy and simple.
Mm-hmm. And as the weeks go, like as this week goes on, we have sessions on at 2 o'clock each day. So we're going to dig deeper into kind of some of those activities that we can be doing. We just wanted to give you an overview today. I also think that this is only 4 days. Fingers crossed right now. At this point, it's only 4 days of learning. So if you are like, holy, small groups, not a chance. It has taken these lovely ladies months to get this all figured out. So I really think we need to keep it simple. If you stay on with your kids and just have them leave the cameras on and do some little activities throughout the day, that's okay expect you to, you know, be breaking out and moving mountains in 4 days. This is brand new. So to kind of show you some ideas of how you could schedule your day, but we also don't want you to feel pressure that you need to do anything fancy. Keep it. The principal actually of the virtual school was like, my message to teachers would be success is when you can get your kindergarten log on to a Google Meet and mute and unmute when they need to. That is success. And if that's as far as you get this week, yeah, and that's okay. They are babies.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big message. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And I know it's easier said than done. It's in our nature as educators, but don't put too much pressure on yourself. Keep it simple. Okay. Anything else that you guys wanted to add for the whole scheduling piece, or any questions that are out there from anyone? Okay, perfect. So attendance is obviously something, again, that I feel like hopefully everyone has kind of chatted about with their admins. Students who have chosen to be on demand and are just doing on demand, those students will be marked present every day, even if you don't see them seesaw activity, from my understanding. So if they've chosen the on-demand option, they are marked present on your attendance. Students who have chosen to just fall for whatever reason, they're just it's too much for them, they can't make it work. Those are the students who will be marked absent. And again, if you have any questions about the attendance piece, check with your admin and your secretary for those specifics. I know School Messenger is a thing, and they send dated call. So I don't know if there's a specific time your school has to have your attendance in by. So make sure all of those kind of pieces. Okay. Brandy uses just a checklist. Brandy, do you do this, or does Lauren do it, or how does this work for the attendance piece and this checklist with you?
As the kids log in, I use this attendance checklist. And then when we're off at 9:25, I go into Aspen and do the actual attendance.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've asked some other folks how they do it too, and a lot of the time it's kind of like a team thing, right? So one person might be reading or going through the morning routine with the kids, and then the other person is going through the checklist and checking it off. So that really, you know, we're in the FDK world, we're lucky because we get a team here, right, to go through it together. So that's another way. Whoops, that that some people are getting it to work. Janessa and Steph, do you have anything you want to add to the attendance?
You know, I've heard some people too, like I think you might have said that they have like an activity that they sign in on, even Seesaw, but it's a bit different for us because we have certain students async, right? So most of ours are accounted for every day. And so yeah, it's usually if they come in the morning, that's when we know that they're present.
Yeah.
And then you give them a time, right? Like you'll say, please check in by quarter after or something.
And then if you're doing the Seesaw activities, you can also see them on Seesaw doing the activities, because it'll come up in Seesaw that they're doing the activities throughout the day as well.
My brain just started working. Also, we have them email us.
Yeah,
right. Like they contact us a lot on Seesaw, Messenger, whatever it's called, messages, and they email us if they're not coming. So
same with our class.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's coming back.
We might have students who don't come to our 8:50 meeting, but we know that they're going to be completing an assignment at some point that morning. So we mark them present.
Yeah, we've got a couple that do not ever come on at 8:55, but they come on at their small group time and 12:30. So those are just, we know they're going to be there. They're marked present.
Absolutely. And we have the same one that we knew in the beginning that she doesn't come doesn't wake up very well early, so she'll come during the middle time often. And then we have a couple kiddos that don't come, but we know that they're doing the activities, and we know that they're doing them off screen during those. We've barely ever seen them, but we know that through the email correspondence we have with parents that they're doing things. They may have an IEP, they might just be wanting to do them in a different way, and we have those conversations with those families.
So that's a good point there, Steph, is to reach out to the families and, you know, have those conversations with them so you know what is happening, you know, that students are doing the work, but they might not be there at the meeting at the time, right? So I think we know that it's important to reach out to the families often anyways, but especially in this new kind of environment, right? So yeah. So
and we know like if there's multiple children at home, maybe they can't all get on at 9 or whenever you start, like,
or technology, right? Like that's always the big thing. They're like, I can't get on today, and you need to find out from your admin like whether that's going to be marked a present or an absent for your kiddos, right?
I think staying in contact with communication, like keeping those lines of communication open with parents, is going to be extremely helpful. Just, you know, things come up, and so just being able to communicate with your parents and know that they're probably feeling the frustration just like you are in these situations. So they are be your biggest support right now too. So support them and they will support you back. Okay, so this whole idea of synchronous time and async time, it was not laid out what the percentages are for synchronous versus asynchronous. So I think just the most important part, if parents are choosing or students are choosing option 1, you just need to make sure that you are available. So even, you know, throughout the day, if you can just stay in that meet, even if the kids might not be in the meet with you, if you turn off your camera, but if someone needs you, they can pop back and say, you know, I need help with my seesaw activity, or I don't know how to do this. So you just need to be available and be there, even if you're not teaching in that moment. And, you know, you guys can decide how students are going to be able to tell if you are available or unavailable. You are someone that's going to try to attempt to do, you know, small groups, then, you know, they need to know that you're not available during that time or that you will be available. So I think that's kind of the async and the synchronous time. But again, at this point, it's only 4. So just let's not overthink it, and let's just get kids online, get them engaged, build back that community, set those expectations, which is where we're going to go next.
Alicia, just one thing back at the scheduling. When you're looking at Janessa and our schedule, one thing you have to remember is we do not have a prep teacher. So your schedules will be different.
Oh yeah.
Our prep is all at the end of the day.
Good one. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And I will be sharing a link at the end with show notes that have those screen captures of their schedules and also a few resources for you. So if you weren't able to get a picture or something or write things down, I will share that at the end. Okay. So things right off the hop, and I'm going to leave this to the teachers. Set expectations and routines is going to be key. And I'm just going to let you guys kind of chat about what are the things that you wish you had have done or you did do off that that have made your classroom run smoothish.
Well, today it was, we did it again. We're going to practice it, guys. We're going to practice it a lot. And it's still the same ones that need the practice. As they did earlier. It's so funny. They're just so excited. And right, like we have signs and these were laminated and can be erased and all that stuff because we also like to play games with it. We've got, I know Steph's upside down, but she's showing hers as well. I don't know why you're upside down. I love it. But we really practice it and we're really calm and we understand that some of our little guys cannot manipulate the mouse that well. and the parent isn't maybe there at that moment. So we're just calm and like, okay, you're making a lot of noise back there. Please, just, we know you're excited. And then I'll sometimes have to mute them, but it's a super duper practice of, Steph, please unmute. You can do it. Find that button and really waiting. And while we are practicing this, sometimes the kids are eating a snack. They are playing with whatever fidget or stuff they have in front of them. Some are gone, which is fine. And we, of course, then after they're done talking, I'll be like, oh, well, thank you. And we're very polite about it. And we just go, now that you're done your point, can you please mute? And I'll wait. And sometimes it's over 10 seconds. It's a while. So it's just that muting is huge.
Well, it's the same time, it's that same understanding with children that you do that wait, right? Even if you were face to face and you're waiting for their response, you have that pause, right? And that's the same thing with these mutes and unmutes.
And we did make it a game today too. Like everyone unmute the same time and say, what word of the day am I holding up? Okay, I heard you unmute and it sounds crazy and you'll understand why we mute so often. Makes sense. So.
I've heard lots of teachers who have said like that is one expectation that you are going to probably spend all. And I'm hoping that we'll share some of those activities, but even like Simon says, so if you're saying like Simon says, mute your mic. Simon mute. Simon says, do 3 jumping jacks. Simon says, unmute your mic. So just like fun little games that the kids can have fun and they can be active, but they also are practicing those skills that are going to be key because you want your kids to know how to mute and unmute when they need to.
And then after that, it would be like your hands up, right? Just physically put your hand up and hold it up. We'll get to you. Mm-hmm. And some of them cry and we're like, it's okay. We'll get to you. It's going to be fine.
But we can also see if their videos are on, if their hands are up. They will also do this instead of using that one. And we also practice the pinning. And pinning is the little one that makes it looks like a thumb tack or a thumb, whatever it is. And when they hit that, the screen comes up nice and big so they can look at somebody really big. So if we're watching a video or if we're doing an exercise, if you pin Miss Latham, you can see how she starts at the top with that N and then comes down. So that pinning was another one that we really practiced a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think some classroom on this screen, you can see there is right beside the mute button, there is that little, if that's what you prefer and you want your kids to use that raise hand button rather than physically raising their hand, again, that's your personal preference, but right from day tomorrow, set those expectations in the classroom. Kids need clarity and they appreciate that kind of structure and knowing what's expected of them because they're people pleasers, especially this little.
And not just the children, the parents actually as well, because they're right there. They're in your classroom with you.
We also practice thumbs up, thumbs down to answer questions, so you don't always have to unmute.
Yeah, good one.
Good one, Brandy. That's so true.
So I'm just looking at the time, guys. I want to make sure, because I know there is another session. We have a few more things we want to get through. So let's get next, which is building that online community. And these pictures that you guys shared are warming my heart. So tell me thoughts on this 1 week of online learning and how important the building that online for teachers. So I know Brandy and Lauren, this picture of this little guy sharing. Can you tell me about this picture in the top corner here?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
So something about he was showing a friend how to use the truck or something.
Oh, right. So a little boy brought a fire truck on today, and then this other one, he was like, I have a question, or I want to tell you how you can use it. So he's like, if you open up this door, you'll find this in there.
Wait,
getting them to talk to each other online.
Yeah, I think sometimes we feel like when we are in this world, it's like us doing the talking and they can't communicate. So I think
And
letting
yeah,
them
you
build
have to
that.
encourage it, right? So we would say, oh, Bobby, I don't know why I keep saying Bobby. Bobby, it looks like you have a truck and so does. Sometimes you have to encourage it in the beginning. Or like we have a couple that I'm like, oh, I think, Sarah is trying to talk to you, Scarlett. And then we'll make sure that they can hear each other. And so we had to build that kind of look there, look over here and describe that screen if you don't know their name. But luckily, like your kids know each other's names. In the beginning, they didn't have no idea. Like the one with the head, and you're like, I don't know what that means.
And I think too, you guys who are the teachers who are just doing online this week, Brandy had mentioned, I think earlier this morning when we met, that actually know each other. So you're that much further ahead than we're in the beginning. So like encourage them to, ask questions when, they're having their exploration time, or, hey, Lauren, I noticed that you are playing with some like Brandy's playing with Lego too. I wonder tell each other what you guys are building. Just encouraging kind of that communication.
Another game, just a couple
No,
games
that's
that
not
were
what I
really
wanted to
helpful
do.
were like hide and go seek. We'd say, okay, one person close your eyes, and then they have to look into the other boxes. Or if you unmute, who do you want to go next to unmute kind of games? And that kind of built that as well.
Yeah, we also had them. I know most of the teachers on here, the kids know each other's names, but it's something that you could play too. We had one child who would, with their parents' help, turn off their video, and then everybody else on the screen had to guess who had their video off. And for us, that was helping learn the names of the small groups. But in a regular classroom, it could help build that community as to who's there with you on screen.
Or if you have a purple shirt, guys, turn your screen off. Hey guys, who's missing? Who had purple shirts on? Right? You can build on it too. I love that. Great.
Awesome.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's keep plugging, Gretchen. Sorry, I know
Okay, that's okay. Yeah.
A few minutes. Sorry, guys. Okay, so don't worry about meeting curriculum expectations this week. It's okay. Review and just communicate those expectations, because if we do go back face to face on Monday, then you're going to want to have some of those kind of in place and like remember where we started. So don't worry about expectations this week. Okay.
Yeah.
Just do review, nothing new.
And for kindergarten, right? Like we're thinking about that belonging piece. And so making that, the online community right now here, that is that belonging piece of the curriculum. So that's what, we are meeting those expectations for kindergarten for sure with all of this, right? So, yeah.
Teacher supports. There is lots of teacher supports out there from last spring that are on there. The elementary educator remote learning resource page is out there. And that is something that has like our questions from office hours. It has how-to videos, lots of things. I shared that link in the chat to the show notes. The link to this page is also posted there. So check it out if you need anything or want to dig a little bit deeper. That is there. And one thing that I found that was super interesting today, and I want to kind of leave you with, parent support. You are sorts of like, I can't do this, or my computer's not working, or we can't get logged in, or our mic won't work, or I don't know my Google password or sign in. I learned today that student IT is been put into place there who will help troubleshoot with parents. So if you go through your board mail and you type in and search for student IT support, and there, you can reach out to them with any concerns. You can CC the parents into the email, say, issues with this, if you could please try to support. And then at the end, also offer and say, if you could communicate directly with the parent, and that comes out of the equation and lets you breathe a little bit. And IT will continue to support the families with tech issues. So don't feel the answers. You can just say, I don't know. Head on over to student IT. I'm going to send an email, and then they will help to troubleshoot that. Okay, so that is there. Use that. And with that being said, I think our time is up for today. Please do not hesitate to just yourself like a breather. Be flexible. Whatever you do this week is going to be amazing. It's a learning curve for everyone. Don't be on yourself. Gretchen and I, along with some of these wonderful teachers, will be joining us every Tuesday. Every day at 2:00, and they will be recorded if you are teaching during that time, and they will be posted on the blog. Let us know what you need. Email us, be in contact, pop back in. There's a feedback form if there's something you would like to see in our session for this week. Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much for sharing. We're looking forward to hearing more of it this week.
There was a question about, is there an IT team we can connect if we are trying to troubleshoot techs that we are having personally as staff members? And is that your SysOp at your school, or is there a different going through there was just a question in the chat.
I'm wondering if you could even go through that student IT or just go through help desk. Like if you type in help desk in your Outlook, that should link you to someone who will be able to troubleshoot with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can stay on here too to answer any questions that you might have now as well. So we'll stick around here for a bit if anybody needs us.